Good morning, everybody. I'm Professor Aishi Gupta from Indore, and it is my pleasure to participate in the webinar conducted by the organization. And I thank Dr. Uma to invite me. Now let's start working on this. As we start, there are two words which we are going to use. One is innovation of management, and then entrepreneurship. So there are two issues we are going to discuss in this webinar. First is innovation management. Now innovation has two parts. One is invention and another is innovation. Invention is something new process, new product that is developed, but it is not commercialized. But when we commercialize, it becomes innovation. For example, the apple dropped from the tree is invention, but use of that in various activity like games is commercial utilization of that, and that is known as innovations. Then there are certain differences between invention and innovation. Invention is basically creation of new product, services, or new idea, whereas innovation is application of all these things in marketplace, or what we call commercialization. For example, the communication, the telephone was invention, but when this was communicated in terms of mobile or telephone instrument and so on and so forth, it is known as innovations. Now, when it is commercialized, then it becomes innovations. Innovation can be independent. For example, you can invent something without any requirement of the customer or without requirement of the market. But when we do induce the innovation or invention for the purpose of commercialization, then it is known as innovation. For example, these days of Corona, now we are going for invention and then innovation used in terms of vaccine for Corona. So that will become innovation. So usually the innovation is induced because of Corona virus. And there is, of course, economic motive available is there in for innovation. And when we have invention, it is limited to particular department. But innovation is spread throughout the organization. Various departments in the organization will be involved in the innovation and implementation of those innovations. And it will require the organization change. And as we know, that innovation precedes invention, but otherwise innovation succeeds inventions. These are the differences between invention and innovation. Now, there are three types of innovations. One is product innovation, then process innovation, and then we come to service innovation. We take the example of process innovation. Suppose we have to give service to some people. The service should make things simpler, faster, more accurate, and more reliable, less expensive. We take the example of ATM. Was innovation used by bank. Now that innovation helps people to take money or deposit money and all the banking requirement made possible because of this innovation, because it is simpler, faster, accurate, reliable, and less expensive. So that is process innovation. And then service innovation. When we provide service to customer, it should be fast, accurate, reliable, and courteous. So these are the differences between product innovation, service innovation, and process innovations. Now we have certain basic ideas about the innovation, that if there is more competitive environment, people will go for more innovation. If there is less competitive environment, then we go for less innovation. Because in the competitive environment, we have to do something better than the competitor. And that is only possible when we innovate. So competitive environments creates more innovation. The smaller organizations are faster to innovate than larger organizations, because in a smaller organization, the decision-making process is limited to a certain number of people. And that's why the smaller organization can innovate faster. Private sector people, because they are independent, they are not controlled by any system, system. That's why the private sector can innovate faster than the public sector. The activity which are limited to small duration can innovate faster. Long duration activities cannot innovate faster. If you have to change the whole system, then innovation will be difficult. But if you have to change a small format or a farm then innovation is possible. The organizations which are professionally qualified, trained, can innovate faster than the organizations which are non-professional. That is the reason that government organizations which are generally less professional than the other organizations can innovate less. Organizations which are situated in industrial area can innovate faster because they have competition around them. But if the organization is situated in some isolated place, then they do not have competition, and thereby the innovation rate is lesser or smaller. The organization which has a very formal organization system, because in formal organization things do not move fast. That's why it decreases innovation. In formal organization, communication, decision is faster, thereby the innovation is faster. When in the organization, when the department have good collaboration, good understanding, then they can innovate faster. If the industry is integrated, if the various companies of the industry, like airlines, a travel agency, or to the industry, they are integrated together, then they can think of some innovative method to provide service to the customer. So, if the organization is permissible, organization allows to make mistake, they permit the mistakes, then people can dare and innovate. If they don't allow mistake, then the company will not go for innovation. So that is why permissible climate can increase the innovation. If we have global orientation, then we can see the competition to world around and take a lesson from them, and we can innovate faster. The organization is decentralized. When the decision making is given to various department and department head, they can make a decision, and if it is decentralized, then we can innovate faster. If everything is centralized, the decision is not made by the organization, made by individual people, and they won't innovate. If there is good relationship between people, there is good networking in various departments, then innovation is faster. If there is a leader who is entrepreneur, can take risk, then in that climate, there is a more possibility of people innovate. Then imply our innovation is imply our customer oriented. If the organization thinks more about the customer, then they can innovate. If they don't think about the customer, they think about the self, then innovation is less possible. And if there is good communication among people within the organization, they can talk, they can discuss, they can innovate faster. So these are some of the requirements for the innovation, and these are some of our hypotheses.
Professor, one small question here. You started saying hypothesis of innovation, right? The previous points. Is it hypothesis, proved hypothesis, or scope for research in all these areas?
We can go for research on the ideas in these areas. Actually, these are hypotheses. These are the ideas. Which generally are proved correct. Hypothesis proved correct, and this is the result of that. Various people have done this research with different hypotheses, and all the hypotheses are joined together and put in one place.
Fine.
Now, it is commonly said that either you innovate or perish. Because in a competitive environment, if you want to survive, then you do something different, something better, something new than other people. So that either you, for competition, either you innovate or you got to go out from it. If there are product innovation, process innovation, and institution innovation. I give 3 examples here. There is a hotel known as Formula 1 Hotel. Now in this hotel, they have innovated system that you don't have to book room, you have to only book online, and there is no person, there is no receptionist, there is no nobody who take care in the lobby. They will give you a number, go in, there is a computer kept there, you log in with your password, and you get a numerical key. And then you go to the room, punch the numerical key, and the room is open. For anything that you need, it is online, available on digital format. So there is no human being available in this type of hotel. Generally, hotels are known as high touch people, high people oriented organized service industry. But Formula 1 hotel have no people. It is automatic, digital format where all services are available through the computer. And secondly, the process innovation that airlines travel agency and hotel, they have all the system available at the online activity, and thereby the process becomes fast, easy, accurate, and courteous. Then we have credit card, the central reservation system in airlines or franchising. These are the institutional innovation of the whole organization. So these are some of the innovations which we can discuss. There are two types of innovation: disruptive innovation and incremental innovation. Telephone was a disruptive innovation which has changed whole game plan, so it's the whole model. Now the franchising system of retailing is incremental innovation which has brought changes into retail industry. So there are innovation which can change complete industry, and there are some of the evolutionary innovation or incremental innovation they can change. So we can take the example of TV. TV has a lot of incremental innovation. That we have color TV, then we have picture in picture, and number of activities. There's a recording, there's a storage, and so on and so forth. So these are incremental or evolution which has improved television. But the television itself in first part was disruptive innovation, which has changed the whole communication and entertainment industry. Now we have communication system, Netflix and extra. These are evolutionary. But the television itself was when it was introduced, a telephone when it was introduced, it was disruptive innovation, which is revolutionary nature, and will change the whole lifestyle of people. Now I come to entrepreneurship. There are certain trends in entrepreneurship, and which I discussed here in 4 points. That the startup accelerators for entrepreneurship. If you want to promote entrepreneurship, there we have to accelerate entrepreneurship by obtaining funding. So first trend is obtaining funding. No accelerator, startup accelerator are obtaining funding, getting loan or working capital. All these requirements they are known as startup accelerator, which are very popular nowadays for promoting startup. Then there are you get seed money, you get grant, you can involve people. You require coaching and training to people, those who are entrepreneurs. So entrepreneur requires promotion in terms of attitude, in terms of training and so on, and that is known as student in the sandbox trend. Next trend is getting fund from people. That is crowdfunding or social funding, which has now become very common. That you don't have to go to bank, or you don't have to go to the share market, but you can get funding from people. Then there are for entrepreneurship, you can develop one small community to start the new venture. I can give an example of co-working space and community, which was started in USA by one of my students. He started a new entrepreneurship activities. He is promoting the final journey management. Final journey management is the funeral management for all community, Hindu, Muslim, Christian. All the last journey management is done by that startup in USA. So that is a small community which we join together. They are from different region, and that community are co-working people joined together, started the last journey management. And it is said that to promote entrepreneurship, what is required is more academic training and professional training. That is being taken care by Education Institute by providing entrepreneurship measure or special courses for entrepreneurs. So these are some 4 or 5 trends which are now promoting entrepreneurship. Now there is something new which is coming now in entrepreneurship. Earlier it was thought that entrepreneurship is a long activity which require many people and so on and so forth, or which require support of many people. Now one single person can start a new activity. That is solopreneurship. A simple person can start a small business or doing something. I have seen in a train, railway station, railway journey, that one boy was having a hot water bucket behind him, and he has two pouches. One is for coffee, one is for tea, and then another pouch was there for what they call some soup. So he provides soup, he provides tea, he provides coffee, and a single man taking everything on the back of his back. So that is solopreneurship possible. That individual can start his own business. Yeah.
Professor, one second. Yeah. Solopreneur may be a new term they are using, but sole proprietorship is something very traditional, right? Sole proprietorship is very traditional. Maybe the term used is it sounds new, but sole proprietorship is a very traditional method of doing business.
When you talk about sole proprietorship, it talks about the single person investing money.
Okay.
Primarily that. But here, the single person not only investing money, but carrying out all the business himself, not taking any support of other team and so on and so forth. But when we come to now, we have another very interesting example of entrepreneurship is known as intrapreneurship. You are within the organization, you can be entrepreneur. You don't have to take the whole organization, separate organization to become entrepreneur. Every individual within the organization can be entrepreneur. Let me give an example. We are in the university system, and in the university system, if I have to start some new venture, then I have to take permission from the organization, so on and so forth. And then we have to set up an entrepreneurship unit there within the university. It is possible. But if an individual is taking initiative and starting something new for the university, then it is known as intrapreneurship. So the organization, individual is establishing a new enterprises outside the formal organization is known as entrepreneurship. But a person is taking initiative and establishing a new venture within the organization, formal organization, that is known as entrepreneurship. Let me give you an example. I was in Devi Ahilya University in Indore. I was in state inter-university where all the decision to start something new is to be taken by the university. But I applied to my vice chancellor that I want to start some innovative programs. I want to start some vocational programs, and I want to set up a unit. And I don't need any investment from the university. I'll invest myself, and I'll take the risk also. And if university allows, I'll pay them 30% of rebate to the university for all the profit which is coming. University allowed me to start my own venture within the university. And I did. And at the end of 4 years, I gave 5 crore rupees to the university. So that is, there is something like entrepreneurship. So this is allowing people within the organization to take risks and establish something new, which is beneficial for the organization. So that is promoting entrepreneurship within the organization and providing them permissible climate to start something new. Now we come to the second area, management of innovation. We are in a competitive world, and if we have to keep on innovating every time, every day, every week, every month, so that we can remain in competition. This is one of the challenges of innovation. Innovation is not doing something at one time. You have to keep on innovating, keep on finding changes to remain in competition. Nowadays, because of lot of compliance regulatory requirements of what is to be done and what is not to be done by the organization, the new activities cannot be easily taken and we require many compliances with the regulatory authorities. So there is another problem. Now there is a large number of data. We have data science and machine learning nowadays, a new area of education, and which is because of there is a large number of data and there is communication. There is a large number of communication activities available. So there is a large number of data coming. To manage this data, we need data analysts. So that is the one of the area which is not possible in the management. Now, if you keep innovating, but innovation has to maintain the quality of the product, process, and services. So when we have to maintain our reputation by innovating things which are suitable for market, suitable for customer. And it is said that creativity is one of the requirements for innovation. So there are very creative people, but sometimes the creative people can be nonsense. So we have to manage that creativity to manage the innovation. So these are some of the issues which comes into management of innovation. You can open innovation. There are different methods of innovation. There are open innovation, co-creation, innovating with people, innovating with competitor, innovating with other department, and so on. So open competition or co-creation. Co-creation with implies co-creation with the customer, co-creation with the competitors. These are known as another method of innovation. If your organization wants to innovate, you have to create a culture of innovation. Now, what is the culture of innovation? You have to provide the opportunity. You have to provide them freedom to make decision. You have to provide the freedom to create a policy and so on and so forth. So that is innovation culture. Culture of pervasiveness. Culture of ability to create something new, ability to accept the mistakes and problems. So this is innovative culture. Now, because of digital transformation, innovation will find that to implement the innovation, you got to go to digital. You have got to go to online, digital for transformation. So that is necessary that digital transformation should also accompany innovation. Many organizations make a team for innovation. So if you make a team which is going to innovate or create some innovative product, process, services, then it is a parallel organization. They are not within the organization. There are a special group of people they can create innovation. Now, for innovation, there are certain requirements like it should be eco-friendly. Any innovation that you create, if it is not eco-friendly, it will not be accepted by society. And it should be also socially acceptable, which is not, I have not put here, but innovation, if it is socially not desirable, if it is socially harmful, then innovation is not easily accepted. Third is, nowadays, particularly because of Corona, the innovation should be healthy. Innovations should create healthy environment, healthy practices, and so on and so forth. So green pressure, health pressure, and socially relevant pressure, these are some of the requirements of innovation. Nowadays, after innovation, it should be related to consumer. It should have relevance with the consumer. If it is not related to consumer, if it is not socially acceptable to consumer, if it is not healthy for the consumer, then innovation is not accepted. Now, because of lot of competition, last point, because of lot of competition, many organizations, innovation are absolute within short period of time. By the time you innovate, other person will copy, and this will create a burnout in the organization. People will be forced to keep on innovating, and this will create a burnout among people. So this is a burnout pressure. People have to keep on changing, innovating. If they don't, then they go out of business. So that is burnout pressures. So these are some of the problems which come to innovations.
Thank you, Professor.
Any particular thing that you would like to ask?
Thank you, Professor. It was really informative. But we have got two questions only. Minimize your screen. Minimize your screen. You minimize your screen.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. Thank you so much, Professor. It was really informative. We have got two questions now. One is, having been with the academic institution for so long, and you have also come out with many innovative programs, and you have also, got surplus through those projects. That's what you have been telling about.
Yes.
And can you tell one such innovative program? How was it? How you were able to succeed in that?
Yeah. Actually, we had one meeting with Vice Chancellor. There was a meeting with Vice Chancellor, head of the department and faculty. In that, the Vice Chancellor said that we want to do something new. Then I raised my hand. I said, okay, we can do something new, but can you provide us freedom, autonomy?
Autonomy, yes.
If you don't provide this autonomy, then we will not be able to do something new. He says, okay, I give you full autonomy. What can you do by tomorrow? Okay. Then I told him, I'll come tomorrow with the proposal and I'll start. Then I came with the vocational studies proposal to my university. And in that, I designed two programs. One is known as Master of Tourism Administration. Other is known as Master of Advertising and Public Administration. That time, in 1991, there was no such program as tourism management. There was no such program as advertising and public relation management. These were new programs which has a new market. And there is, of course, a lot of it is difficulty to promote these programs. But then my Vice Chancellor gave me complete financial and administrative autonomy. That is what I have, permissible climate, permissible culture. The word I use, the innovative culture. That was the innovative culture. He gave me financial autonomy. He gave me administrative autonomy. I don't go to all these people register and so on and so forth. I go to directly to Vice Chancellor, give my requirement, he approves. So this autonomy, freedom of administrative autonomy and financial autonomy helped me to promote these two new programs in the time in 1991 when the competition and to establish these two programs in the market, which was very new. For example, when I went to Bombay to sell my student, that is placement, then one lady told me, why should I use your people? In Bombay, I can get 1,000 rupees everybody. You are asking for 50,000 rupees, 40,000 rupees. Then I have to promote my product and placement. So the complete freedom, autonomy, administrative autonomy, and financial autonomy was, of course, academic autonomy also was completely given to me. I involved travel agency, airlines, hotels, made them member of my board, and I was able to establish this program. And my MPA and program was one of the top programs in India. And still, my program is known, and you can talk to airlines, travel agency, and all the tourism-related organizations. The name of Indore University is number one because of all this freedom provided to me by my Vice Chancellor. And because of this, I can decide my fees. Because of this, I can decide my trip to student anywhere in India and abroad, taking them to the student outside. All this was possible. And because of this, I was able to establish brand name. And I was able to place my student. Now my students are controlling tourism industry. They're in big position in the tourism ministry and so on and so forth. And I was able to generate a lot of money.
So that is edupreneurship. Edupreneurship. That is called edupreneurship. EDU, edupreneurship, because it is education.
Good. I can use this. I used to call it entrepreneurship, but I would now call edupreneurship.
Yes. And okay, now now you may be extending consulting or training, or you may be giving training, right? You may be into training area now. How do you feel? Okay, how do you find this new kind of talking to people through virtual media? How what is your experience?
Because I am not high-tech person. I am basically high-touch person. Okay. So I find it difficult, and I call my brother, friend to help me out to do this. I was being required. I was required to send one video of my teaching to Kazakhstan, and it took me so many days to get a video ready and send it to Kazakhstan because I am not able to talk to camera.
Okay.
So I'm not good at it. I'm good at it, the interactive in the classroom.
Okay.
But we got to prepare because these are the future normal things.
Yes, exactly. And we have a lot of positive things in this virtual media. It is more cost effective, and we need not even now. We are able to talk to a resourceful person like you. We are able to source resourceful people all over across the globe. So this is one main advantage. of
No, it
using
is
virtual.
advanced. There is no question about it. I am not ready for it.
Okay.
I am not prepared for it.
But
It is very good.
But your presentation was really useful and it is really effective. Yeah, and all your points that you made and your experiences are inspiring. We are recording your video and this will be shared to many budding faculty members. This will be a great inspiration for them because faculty can also innovate and education people can also innovate. That is the main point that you have put across today, and definitely this will be shared to many of the faculty members, and the students watching this will also be inspired to innovate and inspire. Okay, so you are a great inspiration.
Is a matter of fact, because I'm not good at webinar and so on,
Yes.
but I generally, my passion is to travel and teach. I go to different places to teach, and when I stand, then only I can talk well. If I sit, I cannot talk well.
You know, it is really impactful and your talk was really effective. Though you are very humble enough to put across like this, it is really effective. And
this is correct. I'm not humble. This is correct.
And you are a great inspiration for all of us. And thank you so much for joining us. And we'll
last week,
yes.
I offer my academic service to anybody who wants it, and I don't charge money. Even when I travel to different places, I give the lecture, but I don't charge money. Of course, I want them to give me food and accommodation. These are the requirements. So anybody who wants to use my academic service, they are most welcome to come.
Yes.
And you can put my email address and name, etc., etc.
Yes, yes. It is available. Recording. It is available on the slide itself, and when we are sharing also, it is totally free. This the presentation you made, we are making it totally free, and it will reach out to many budding educationists across the globe. It's not only in our country; we are also sharing it with many countries. So it will your valuable ideas and innovation points will be reaching to many people.